Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about Chegg stock. Now, this is one of the most exciting opportunities that I see on the stock market within the next few days, and especially concerning earnings, because of the fact that I think this company will absolutely smash their earnings report, and it's going to be a huge gap up because of the way that their stock chart is set up and because of the way that their stock has been moving over the last few weeks is giving us a great indication of what might happen if their earnings are successful. So let's get straight into it here, guys. Now, Chegg is a company that basically specializes in subscription services to help students out with tutoring, with homework help, and with other sort of answers. And I personally am a subscriber of this service, and I absolutely love it. I use it on a daily basis, and I know a lot of students around me who have started using this service as a result of having to do remote learning and having to be at home. They've really had to rely on this service, and I know thousands of people are in the same boat as us and potentially looking for a way to get some help with homework and tutoring, with so many classes being online and no longer in person. So that's why I think the stock is really poised to have one of its best earnings reports in history. And I think that their stock investors really know this. Now, if you see the chart here, you can clearly see the week or 2 weeks when the S&P was selling off, the SPY, and the SPY is a great indication of how the overall market is doing. And when the SPY sells off, a lot of other stocks really follow this. And you can see that Chegg was no different. They've sold off all the way to around $62 at the low. And it's honestly been crazy to see how much growth they've had after this period. And with a lot of other stocks, we're now seeing a second hill forming, stocks like AMD or Apple, where they did have a period of running down. Then they started to find an upwards direction, and now they really just broke down to around halfway in the hill. And guys, Chegg has not followed this pattern, and I think that one of the main reason is because a lot of investors know that this earnings is coming, and they're really bullish on what could happen with this earnings. So let me just show you a few reasons why this is such a great setup and why I think Chegg is going to absolutely gap up to the moon tomorrow, and why I personally have invested some dollars into this company, and I hope that they do very well. So one of the main things that I'm watching here is that they are paused around their all-time highs, and they're really holding this 88.30 level where it seems like they can't break above, or until we get some other piece of news about the company. Now, there have been days where the company gets low volume, and you can see that it's been the case that the volume has been decreasing as the price of the stock does get higher. However, the last time we were around these all-time highs, the volume was absolutely great. So I think that's why people are not investing right now. They're just waiting to see whether we can push up above this 88.30. And with the earnings, if we get good news, I think a lot more people are going to start pouring back into this stock, and especially investors that maybe looked at Snapchat and are now tired of holding, they don't know if it can continue back up, are going to be looking for their next greatest opportunity to invest. And that's why I'm so excited about Chegg earnings coming today after the closing bell. So that's why I personally invested into the company, and I'm really hoping that they break up. And if they do go upside, I think they can rocket up around to $100 almost within the day or day following their earnings if they do well. Now, there is a scenario where the company reports earnings and they are well, but they are already priced in. I don't think that will be the case with so many stocks that we've seen potentially run up after all-time highs and really push their valuation, like Snapchat after a positive earnings. With so many companies struggling right now, it's always hard to find a company that is potentially doing better during these economic lockdowns and during this hard time. And that's why I think a lot of investors will like this company when they report their earnings and when they come out substantially better. Now, like I said, nobody has a magic crystal ball for the stock market, and I am not an insider trader on Chegg Inc. So we do have to look at the worst case scenario, and I think that if Chegg reports some weak earnings or earnings that hit the mark but don't really surprise investors, then maybe we could see a pullback to around the 81. And in the worst case of all scenarios, I see them dropping to around 78. However, like I said, I think this is going to be a great time to buy, as honestly, this is the perfect setup for them to gap out after earnings. And I want to show you another company here that had a similar setup coming into their earnings, and that is Snapchat. Now, if you've been following Snapchat over the last few days, you know that they absolutely ran up like crazy. They're up around 60% since their earnings date. And this is one of the most crazy runs that I've personally seen after a stock earnings. And that's why I really am very bullish on Chegg doing the same thing, especially in the short run here with so many investors just itching for an opportunity to buy or sell into a company, as there isn't a lot going on in the stock market right now. And the SPY has just been absolutely paused over the last few days. And a lot of these big name players that have been moving the market are just not seeing any direction. I'm talking about AMD, Apple, Boeing, Microsoft. All these companies seem to just be paused and they're not doing anything. And a lot of investors are really looking where to put their money right now. And that's why I think it's such a great time with the amount of chart setup that we have on Chegg. And with the amount of investors just looking for a new opportunity, I think this is going to be the perfect storm for Chegg. So what am I seeing on Snapchat that I'm also seeing on the Chegg chart? That's going to be the sitting near all-time highs, very, very close to an earnings date. And you can see that Snapchat actually ran up to around $28 here as their previous all-time high. And then they came down with the economic downturn, with the sell-off that the SPY was having. We had a little sell-off like I showed you on Chegg. And this stock ran down and then ran up very strongly coming into the earnings. And then you can see that the following day, they absolutely gapped up around 60%. So I think a similar thing could happen on Chegg. Now, I'm not expecting 60%, but you can see that the setup is almost identical to where the company runs down a little and then comes up very, very strongly to earnings, as people are very, very bullish on what could happen with the company. And now that we're sitting near these all-time high levels, like I said, Snapchat ran 60%. I don't think Chegg will do the same, but at the very least, I can see them hitting $100 within the next week if these earnings are as positive as I think they will be. And like I said, I'm very bullish on this company because of the fact that I personally use the service, and I've seen so many of my peers around me subscribing to this service as well, and really buying into the idea of an online tutoring, an online answer system, and an online help. And I feel like these are customers that they've really gained in the short run, but they will stick around for the long run. I know that I personally will continue using this service even when I am back at school, or when potentially I'm able to see a teacher in person. So that's why I'm so bullish on this company. I think they're going to have some great earnings. And if you are able to buy them before the closing bell, I think it will be a great opportunity to multiply your account almost by the time the day closes tomorrow. So just keep a close eye out on this company. If you aren't able to play the pre-earnings, I'm sure that you guys will be able to catch some type of run tomorrow after the earnings come out. Like I said, worst case scenario, if the sky falls and this company reports $0, I think that we will see a $78 price valuation on the company. But if we do have the positive earnings I'm expecting, I think the company will run up to $100 plus within the next few days. So that is what I'm watching on Chegg stock here, guys. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe the video. I'm so thankful for the support you guys have been showing over the last few days. A lot of love coming from you guys. So I really appreciate that, and it keeps me motivated to upload every day. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys are having a green week.